Let's welcome back to the program, Billy Quarantillo. Billy, how are you, buddy?
Hey, what's up?
I'm
doing great. Thanks for having me, Randy. Hope all's well over there.
All is very well, and we miss you here. When are you getting back to town? We've got pizza to provide.
Oh, man, yeah, I can't wait. That sounds delicious right now. I'm cutting weight. I'll be back in town, I think, on Tuesday.
Okay, well, then the pizzeria is open on Tuesday. Whenever you need
Billy
it, that's
knows.
for sure.
I'll be down to get some food for sure.
So earlier I mentioned that you live here in Tampa, but Randy was under the assumption you live up in New York
Well,
and
both.
travel.
Yeah, he's both.
Back and
He's
forth.
up in the Northeast, and he's in Tampa as
like,
well.
Like Friola does. Is that true? Like you split your time equally?
Definitely not equally. I live in Tampa now, but I grew up in Western New York, and then I definitely do a lot of my training. I'll try to go out there at least once or twice a year over to Long Island and train with those guys over there.
Did I see on social media that you had a baby?
I do, yes, I did. I have a 1-year-old son now.
Wow, congratulations, buddy.
What's that like? I mean, obviously I know I have children and grandchildren, but I'm curious, how it's been for you, how much you've enjoyed it, and how it's changed your life.
Oh, yeah, I've enjoyed it quite a bit, man. It's waking up and having a son there and just doing all the things with him and being around him and watching him grow has been incredible. It's been a complete blessing to me and my wife, Bree. And yeah, I just can't say enough about it. It wasn't, I always wanted to be a dad, but I didn't realize how much that it would change me and how much I would appreciate it and how much more motivation I have to provide for my son and my family now. And I look at the future a lot differently because everything I do now is for him.
Just be prepared for what's about to happen, like in the next 2 months, 3 months. Now, they're starting to talk, they're starting to walk, and it's been cool up to this point, I know, but wait until you can, have a conversation. And, my granddaughter's, 3, and it's like she's a human being. It's just so crazy. That's coming, and that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. That's what everyone tells me, that, enjoy the moment because it goes really fast, and that, it doesn't get easier, but it gets more fun.
So I mean, you said it added extra motivation. I mean, you've always been a determined guy. You've always seemed to be very dialed in as far as what you want out of this career and this legacy you're leaving in the UFC. So talk about the extra motivation. Like, is it for legacy? Is it for pride? Is it for just a sense of purpose? Like, what do you?
It's to feed the baby.
To feed? Well, I mean, obviously monetarily, right?
Yeah. I think it's a little bit of all of that. I want my son to be able to look back at my UFC career and watch my highlights and be proud of his dad. And then, of course, the financial part of it is, every win makes more money, get a bigger name, get bigger sponsors, provide a better life for him, better schooling, better, a better location, all that stuff that I think a lot more about now that I have a son. I never really cared where I live or who I'm around, but I want my son to have the best opportunity that I can provide for him. So a lot of it's just go out there and perform at my best and give him the life that I think he deserves.
I know some fighters don't like talking food, and I kind of started it with pizza. But so I'm curious. A lot of the fighters tell me while they're cutting weight, they watch the Food Network. They watch these food channels, kind of live through food knowing that they can't eat it for 2 or 3 more days. Are you one of those?
No. I would say I'm kind of the opposite. I try to avoid really delicious foods, and we're in a really nice hotel here. I just walked by. We did the UFC media stuff, and they got all this delicious food, all this chicken and macaroni and all this other good stuff. And I'm just smelling it, and I always think, all right, tomorrow's the weight cut day, and then Friday you can eat whatever you want, and then we'll go have some fun on Saturday. But no, I don't really. I try to avoid food a little bit until then.
And I'll get off the food because I don't want you to come here on Tuesday and punch me in the face. But you just said on Friday when you can eat anything you want, and I remember vividly Sam Hoger saying the same thing. He went out to an all-you-can-eat sushi buffet on Friday, and then he goes, I felt like death on Saturday. How careful do you have to be on what you're going to put in your body Friday before you get and have fun on Saturday in the octagon?
Yeah, I said you could eat whatever I want, but I'm still gonna keep it. With the food I'm used to eating, but at least I'm allowed to eat like a steak and some pasta with marinara sauce and that kind of stuff. I do try to avoid foods that might give me a stomachache. I don't eat any seafood or sushi or anything like that. But just good carbs, good proteins. I don't celebrate making weight on Friday. I celebrate winning and making weight and all that Saturday after the fight. So Saturday after the fight is when I can eat the pizza and the ice cream and the cookies. But Friday, at least I can still eat, good
Stuff.
good tasting chicken, steak, maybe a little bit of barbecue since we're in Nashville. But yeah, I don't really like to overdo it until Saturday.
A lot of fighters, they come on, their last fight was, a year and a half ago or 2 years ago or 9 months ago. Pretty quick turnaround for you, just over 3 months, right?
Yeah, I wanted to stay busy this year. I want to stay busy this year regardless of the first fight outcome. And I wasn't sure, maybe if I would have went out there and got a huge finish and had a dog fight, that I might have taken a little bit more time off. But after the loss and, taking a week off to myself, I felt like I had to get right back in there, and I wanted to get right back to work, and I was still in really good shape, and I wanted to stay in really good shape. So this was an easier training camp because I was already in really good shape. I didn't have any brain issues. I didn't spar for the first month and a half after the fight. But then this training camp has just been great so far.
One of the things that I remember from back in the day covering it, the very beginning, and it's kind of gotten away a little bit about the sportsmanship, about, this is a sport. After your last fight, I saw some reports and some photos of you and Edson, in the back and not friends, but, kind of cool pictures after you just fought.
Yeah, he's one of those guys I've always had a lot of respect for. And the fight's over at this point. Maybe I would love to get a rematch one day, but after the fight, he's a father, I'm a father. I have nothing but respect for him. He caught me, he had a better night. And there's nothing to be mad about after. I got nothing but respect for him. He certainly didn't do anything dirty. So we were we were cool. I shook hands with him after, and there doesn't have to be any bad blood after the fight.
I love seeing it, and I always say it's easy to show class when you win. The other is different, and I love seeing class, and you're definitely one of them. I know I saw a lot on Facebook. You were doing some charity events leading up to this fight. A, can you talk about it? B, is it still going on? And C, how can people get involved either way?
I'm sorry, I missed the first part of the question.
I saw on Facebook that you were posting things about raising some money for charity, doing some things, to help some charities. So I was asking, A, is it still going on? B, how can people get involved, moving forward? Is it too late to get involved and help?
No, absolutely not. So, what I was doing was one of my sponsors, Once Upon a Coconut, they always, every single case of coconut water they sell, 10% goes to charity. And I decided that for this training camp, which you can still buy, any Once Upon a Coconut you buy using code CAMP20, all the money that we raise for that, I'm gonna match it. I'm gonna donate it to the Down Syndrome Foundation of Florida, which is a company that I've gotten a chance to work with before, hands-on. I've gotten to meet a lot of the people in that foundation, and I know exactly where the money's going, so that means a lot to me. So yeah, if anyone wants to donate to the Down Syndrome Foundation of Florida, if they want to buy Once Upon a Coconut, onceuponacoconut.com, you'll save 20% using CAMP20, and then of course I'll match that money anyway, and that'll go to that great fund.
Awesome, good stuff. Hopefully some people will do that. Let's talk about real quickly. The task at hand, your reward, which is coming up a couple days on Saturday in Nashville, UFC on ESPN. Talk about your opponent.
Oh yeah, Damon Jackson. He's a tough guy. He's a very good grappler, and he's really unorthodox on the feet. So he can overwhelm people. He can be kind of tricky, and he wants to make it a grappling match. So my job is to do the opposite. I'm going to make it as violent as possible and make it as exciting as possible. Keep the fight on the feet. If we do grapple, end up in a good position, get on top of him, and do what I do best.
A lot of fighters always talk about, and they don't explain the game plan. They just say they have a game plan. And I always ask, how can you have a game plan when you don't know what the opponent's going to do? You don't really know you're going to do this, and you don't know how they're going to respond to it. So is it more just, act and react? Is that kind of the process?
Yeah, well, it's just studying a lot of his fights. Now that we're both longtime UFC fighters at this point, I can kind of pick up his tendencies, like what he likes to do. He likes to come out aggressive and try to get the fight to the floor as soon as possible. If he decides to not be as aggressive and keep it striking, then we got to go to plan B2 and we got to react to that. But we had a great training camp and we're ready for whatever he wants to do. We're prepared for it. There's a main game plan, and then there's, all right, well, if he does this, then we got to do this. And overall, I like my style, and I like that my conditioning. We did a lot of sprints in that Florida heat all summer long. I'm prepared to go 3 hard 5-minute rounds and do whatever it takes to get that win.
So, Billy, I know we always like to ask, fighters. This is in Nashville, obviously. A lot of your fights were back in the Apex and in Vegas. Do you like fighting in these big arenas, like, on the road, like outside of Vegas? Does it matter to you if there's a big crowd, a live energy crowd? Do you tap into that? Does that help your performance at all?
Yeah, I do. I look at it like I use the crowd's energy. I really enjoy fighting in front of people, especially when, I think I have like 40 or 50 people coming from my family, people in Tampa, and people in Lewiston where I grew up. So yeah, I really like that. I feel like I'm a showman, and I feel like my style is very fun. It's very fan friendly. So I really enjoy the stadium fights. I ask for them every single time. So, and I think the UFC likes that too. And they've been putting me back in the stadiums these last 2 fights.
Good stuff.
That's
Billy,
awesome.
as always, thank you for your time. Have fun on Saturday. I know it's a job, but you enjoy it. It's the enjoyment that the fans are going to get as well as you in it. I know we have your address. We're going to send you a care package from 8 Man Strong, as well as some cool stuff from Bucked Up Energy Drink as well.
Great. Thank you so much, Randy. I'll see you up, and I'll have to get some pizza sometime next week.
Absolutely, we'll do it. Have fun. Thanks, Billy.